emergency.
Welcome to That Weewoo Show, a podcast where we watch and discuss episodes of the ABC show 911, or as it's affectionately known around the fandom, The Weewoo Show. My name's Ellen. I'm very excited to introduce my two co-hosts, Alice and Bex.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm so excited to be getting into this.
Oh my god, me too.
Okay, so in this first episode of the podcast, we thought we'd just tell you a little bit about who we all are and how we came to be watching 911 and what we're going to be talking about as we go on with the podcast. Just a warning, we are going to be talking about spoilers for latest seasons, or especially the latest season, during this episode and probably as we go on through our entire watch. So just be warned. You may be spoiled for some things early if you start watching now. Shall we introduce ourselves first? Alice, I think you said you were going to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. So I'm Alice, and I'm mostly a 911 newbie. I've been following vaguely on social media for the last few years while ignoring all my friends, sorry Bex, who told me to watch it. I stood pretty firm that I wouldn't watch until Buddy went canon. But since it seems like we're getting closer than ever in Season 7, I've finally given up and I'm jumping in. Right now I've watched all of Season 1 and half of Season 2, but I'm binging at an alarming rate, so I'm sure I'll be caught up soon.
What about you, Ellen? What is your 911 origin story?
I'm Ellen, sometimes known as Ellen of Oz around the place. I write and read a lot of Destiel fan fiction and talk about other people's fic on my other podcast, Mixtape Book Club. With my lovely co-host Mel Muses. And so if you're into Destiel fanfic, go check that one out too. I'll just do a cross-reference there. Well, my origin story is like literally this week. So we're starting...
What happened this week?
Oh, what happened this week? I wonder. So I guess straight up the spoilers. This week, the last episode that was on was 704, which was the one where... Buck kissed a boy and he liked it. So I have been watching people talk about this show for, like, as Alice was saying before, for years, and I just haven't got into it. I think partially because like all three of us have known each other for a few years now as part of the Supernatural fandom, and Destiel in particular. So we went through that period where we all knew that Dean Winchester was bisexual. We just knew, but it was obvious to everybody except apparently the show creators, who didn't want to actually make it, they didn't want to go there. So we've been burned before, and the ending of the show was less than, I don't know. I've lost the words to describe how disappointing the show was for so many people. But, so, we've been burned before. And we've been hearing about Buddy, which is the main ship of 911, in case you weren't paying attention, for so long now. And now that, like, Buck is finally, officially, canonically bi, why not give it a go now? And even if the main ship doesn't go canon in the end... we've still got some great rep there, right?
Yes.
And, like, there's something to be said for best friends who are guys, guy best friends, But best friends to lovers is, like, a favourite trope of mine. So there also does seem to be a definite Supernatural to 911 pipeline going on. Like, so many people, especially on Twitter, that were already following for Destiel kind of fandom stuff, have been watching 911, so I know that I'm going to like it ahead of time. So
That's it.
So Bex, how about you? What's your origin story with 911?
I was a definite victim of the Supernatural to 911 pipeline.
Uh-huh.
I had so many mutuals on Twitter, and yes, I am going to dead name that social media site.
Yes.
I had so many mutuals on Twitter who were watching 911, and especially as season 6 was drawing to a close, everyone was getting very excited. They were anticipating that a certain ship was going to set sail, and I wanted to be there when that happened because I was late to the bandwagon with Supernatural, so I wanted to be there this time. So I binged 5.5 seasons of the show so that I could be there for the season 6 finale, and I just have not stopped watching since.
Well, I should probably add, actually, now that you guys have been talking about binging, I have only watched one episode. This first pilot episode is the only one I have watched so far. I know some things. Obviously I know about Buck and Eddie.
But you haven't even met Eddie yet.
I know.
Eddie's not even in it yet.
But there's just so much of it around. I feel like Tumblr is full of it.
True.
So I'm going to try really hard not to get spoiled by... I'm sure I'm going to see like big events that are going to happen on socials or whatever. But yeah, as we go on, I'm going to try and watch a week at a time and just try and be surprised by some things.
At this point, I have one watch that's going where I'm rewatching season 1, and then I've got my main one, which is midway through season 2, and then I'm also watching through social media season 7. So it's a whole mess that I've got going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm on my 4th rewatch of the entire show.
Wow.
We've got the veteran over here for sure.
Yeah, the veteran who hasn't even been around for a year. But no, every time one of my friends says, "Oh, I'm starting 911," I restart watching so that when they're in my DM screaming about a particular episode or a particular character, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I am with you on that.
Yeah. So I guess we haven't settled on a standard format yet for our main episodes, but what we're going to try and do is go through the events of each episode and discuss themes, maybe some directing choices and musical choices, what's happening with the characters and their development, and maybe just shitting on some medical stuff that may not be correct. We're none of us are medical professionals, as far as I know. You guys aren't, right?
Not professionally, no.
No.
We have no illusions that this show is actually going to be in any way correct to the real world. It's just a bit of fun, right? Even though it's some heavy subject material. So yeah, fair warning. This will be. We know that some of the episodes are quite heavy, and we will try and give some content warning type things at the start of each episode, just in case you'd rather avoid listening to that one. And we will be swearing and probably discussing some kind of adult topics. So,
Oh, good.
I'm going to put a rating, whatever the 18 plus rating is. I can't remember on Spotify. There's like a adult rating.
Beautiful.
So we can swear to your heart's content and keep this one away from the kiddies.
Excellent. I don't think you could have a podcast with 3 Australians without at least one of us swearing at least once during the episode.
Yeah, honestly.
So sorry. Sorry in advance. Okay. So we better wrap up our intros. We have got a website. We've got thatweewooshow.com, and we will have all our show notes there. Every episode will have a transcript that'll be available on the website, and so on each episode you can leave us a comment on the actual website, or you can get in touch with us in a number of other ways. We have an email address, which is contact@thatweewooshow.com. We have social media accounts on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And is that everything?
Yes. No, it's just those 4, and they're all at That Weewoo Show.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. So if you want to contact us, tell us what you think about the episodes we're talking about, you're welcome to do that in any of those ways. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favourite the way that you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast. There's a bunch of other ways that people get podcasts. You can subscribe in any of those ways. And if your listening app doesn't have our show on there, just let me know and I'll get it added. You can listen through the website as well, directly through each blog post as well. So lots of ways that you can listen and get informed of new episodes. And we are going to get stuck straight into talking about the first episode. So thanks very much for listening to this intro, and stay tuned the pilot episode will be coming very shortly.